Welcome back to the Stevens house. I have a friend here. This is Jim Merritt. He's a longtime architect around Tacoma, and we're going to ask Jim all these specific questions that are architecture related. We want to know. We've got burning questions. So are you ready to do this, Jim?
Okay, I hope I can keep it on track for you.
Okay. So Jim, this is what I want to know. I am not a historian of architecture, but you are. What is the style of this house?
So I would define this more as a Georgian.
A Georgian, okay. So when you say that, Jim, is it because it's a very like rectangular box, or is it the columns? Is it the trim detail? What is it about this house?
It has to do with the masonry walls and the windows and kind of the formality of the windows and the setting. So it really is a rectangle box, and there are a few styles of that era, early American, where this Georgian became a dominant. It really was more probably in the north.
Would this have been a rich person's house, or would most people have a style like this back then?
No, this was considered a higher level quality. Kind of, again, it's a hybrid. It's taken the detailing to more where now you have a wider, and that's more ionic in column, but there's still the, you don't have any of the scroll top, so it's kind of become just a piece of, it's called kind of neoclassical.
Neoclassical.
And then
okay.
when they start using things out of context.
Yeah, okay.
And they kind of threw that term on it, that was kind of neoclassical.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, obviously this fireplace is pretty incredible. And tell me about the architecture here. What is this?
Well, again, it's just kind of drawing on a number of the orders in the pieces of early architecture, and like this is kind of a takeoff of what would be Dental's or Egan Dart. You know, it has kind of a cadence at the top that would be typical of that, and then the amount of cantilever for the top is not really tied to any one particular style, I don't believe, but it still is. See, it's almost like the Egan Dart here.
Yeah.
This is started creating that feeling. This is almost a reflection of what would be the Corinthian columns, which is the flowered top.
Yeah, that's what you were referring to when we were talking about.
Yeah, so see, that isn't anywhere else.
Right.
You know, so you kind of have hybrids of all three here in little pieces.
As I work through the design plan here, countertops, tile in the bathrooms, what would be historic, or what would be authentic to a house of this age?
Probably an early style tile, because they didn't have quartz like that, and they didn't have solid surfaces. They didn't have those things that were poured. So,
yeah, marble.
Yeah, that could use marble.
Marble, okay.
Marble would be granite, possibly.
Granite, possibly.
Yeah.
So when you say the old style tile, you're talking about like the 4x4s?
Probably smaller.
Smaller than that?
Yeah.
Hexagons?
They come in sheets, like, well, it can be hexagon or 1x1 squares, and they come in, now they come in like foot squares.
Okay.
Where you'd have horizontal pieces, that was more traditional.
Okay. Because
they could do it smaller pieces, they didn't have that kind of plywood.
Big plywood.
Didn't have that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. You know, it's really this whole thing of trying to reflect from Georgian and reflect on the classical orders, the neoclassical. That's kind of the big theme.
Okay.
That's really what it is.